Well, welcome back, viewers. Of course, as our special guest tonight, we have Johnny Di Francesco from 400 Gradi. Of course, he is the man that represents the Neapolitan pizza in this country, yeah? Now, mussels, le cozze. I have to say, that is one of the things that I think is so synonymous with Italians. Southern Italy and Venice, so you and I have a little bit of a connection there. But it is one of the things that I guess really sings Italian food, and they're great as an antipasto. And we love them here in Australia, don't we?
Oh yeah, I love them.
Traditionally, you either do them where they just open up with wine and herbs. You know, I guess that's the classical.
In Napoli, we call that acqua pazza.
Acqua pazza. And that is one of the best ways to have them in a way. Or you put them through pasta, or you can have them gratinati. So lots of different ways. But Johnny's going to show us his take on le cozze.
So the first step to cook this dish, we're going to have to debeard the mussels. To do that, what you do is you pull on the beard of the mussel, preferably with your fingers. If the beard is a bit tough to take off, you can use a knife, and then wash the mussels under cold water. So one really good thing to keep in mind is a lot of people say that if the mussel's open, it's not good and you need to throw it out. Yes, that is true, although if you find an open mussel, just tap the mussel on the shell, and if it closes on its own, then the mussel is still alive and still okay to use. So as you can see, this mussel here is perfectly fine. The first thing that we're going to do to cook this dish is we're going to steam off the mussels. The reason why we do that is to get rid of any extra sand that's in that in the mussel. So it's quite simple. Just add some water to a pan, add the mussels into the pan, and cover it with another pan. So now we're going to preheat our oil, and we're going to add a couple of garlic clove pieces into that oil. We're going to let that sizzle for just a few seconds, so you can smell that beautiful garlic. So now that my garlic and oil is ready, I'm going to add some peeled tomatoes to the pan, and we're going to make our base sauce. We're going to add some parsley, and we're going to set this aside, and we're going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, so once you've steamed your mussels, the best thing to do is to actually check if all the hair or the beard's been taken out. If it hasn't, then just gently, without breaking the mussel, take the beard off. So now that my garlic and oil is ready, I'm going to place the mussels in one by one, avoiding any of the water that has, all the steamed water that's come out of these mussels. Again, leaving behind the sand that's come out of these mussels. So as you can see, steaming the mussels is important, because that's what comes out of your mussel once you've done that. Okay, so now that the mussels are cooking, we're going to add some white wine to the dish, and we're going to cover it again for just 30 seconds. And then we're going to be ready to add these mussels into the sauce that's been simmering for the last 10 minutes. The mussels are fully opened, and they've been cooking for only a few minutes. So we're going to add now the mussels into the sauce, and we're going to finish off this dish. So we're going to add just a little bit more parsley. And we're going to allow it to cook only for about 30 seconds, and then we're ready to serve this simple but beautiful dish.
Well, Johnny, what a terrific summer dish. And I guess you can have those hot or cold, yeah?
Correct.
So beautiful, you can prepare them ahead of time. Now, for the next dish, what are you going to show us?
Well, the next dish, I'm going to use some paccheri. For those of you that have not seen paccheri, that's the shape of the pasta.
They're like old-fashioned macaroni, aren't they?
They are, just a bit larger.
Bit larger.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show you a recipe that I found overseas, and I found it quite intriguing, because with the dish that I'm going to make,
yes,
we normally only use fettuccine or tagliatelle or spaghetti.
Yes.
But I'm going to use some paccheri with it, and it's paccheri alla pescatore.
Oh, wow. So alla pescatore meaning tomato, mixed seafood, and then these big tubes of pasta.
Okay, so to make this next dish, we're going to use pretty much the same base as what we used to make the mussels, but we're going to add some scallops, some vongole, and some tiger prawns with that. Okay, so the first step to creating this dish is we're going to put the pasta into the water on boil. So you preheat your water in a pot and make the water salty enough. If I can let you understand, just as the sea. So if the saltiness of the sea, that's how much the saltiness of your water should be to make it a perfect salty water to cook your pasta in. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this water into the pasta boiler. We've got the luxury at the restaurant to have a pasta boiler, but at home, obviously, if you don't, then you can use a pot with some water. So we're going to add the pasta into the water. Okay, so while the pasta is boiling, we're going to prepare our base sauce. So we're going to add some oil, add some garlic to that, and we're going to add a little bit of parsley. We're going to let this simmer off a little bit, and the first thing that we're going to add is the scallops, the prawns, and the vongole. So as these are cooking, I'm going to fry off the scallops and the prawns and the vongole at the start, and then I'm going to add the mussels a little bit later on because the mussels don't take so long to cook. I'm then going to cover it. I'm going to cover it for about 2 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to add some white wine, and we're going to let that cook off, just to let the white wine reduce for about 2 minutes. Okay, so while the dish is simmering, we're going to season to our liking. So I'm going to add some cracked pepper and just a little bit of salt. Because you're going to remember that we've got salt in the water. Now, as this is reduced, we are now going to add some Napoli sauce to the dish. So once I've allowed the Napoli sauce to absorb some of the seafood flavour, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out most of the seafood so that I don't dry the seafood out. I've taken the seafood out of the sauce, and I'm going to cover it just to keep it warm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cook the pasta in the pan with the tomato, just to let that pasta absorb the beautiful sauce that we're cooking. I'm going to add just a little bit more parsley. These look beautiful, huh? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the seafood back into the pasta, just to give it that little bit more flavour. And we're ready to serve. And we've got our paccheri frutti di mare.
Now, of course, I guess the Italians, do they like dessert things?
Of course. Nothing. You can't have a meal and then not have dessert.
Oh, well, let me just say that we are expecting you to show us a pizza, some kind of dessert pizza for your final recipe, yeah?
Yep. So my final recipe, which is a dessert pizza, it's going to be a calzone filled with mascarpone.
Mascarpone.
Dried figs, which have been poached and soaked, and with some vin cotto over the top when it comes out.
Which is the reduced must of wine. Do you do that yourself?
Sugar, yes.
You can buy it in the supermarket,
yep.
but I guess all funky chefs make it themselves, don't they? You reduce it to your own level. Beautiful. All right.
So I can't leave these dishes hanging around too long because my trusted workers just dig into them. So thank you very much.